Alright, so this is it. Tomorrow morning I leave the exchange to Birmingham, UK, which I have been preparing for close to a year now. I am terrified. One thing that my grandmother used to say to me was, "What odds? If you don't do it now, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life." I didn't quite understand what she meant until this past year, and until I began to experience everything that I have while I've been on this journey. And even every time I've had to make a hard decision, I've tried to follow by the motto of "what odds?" In the months, the weeks, and the days leading up to when I left, I was scared as hell. I didn't think I'd make any friends. I didn't know if I would get homesick, and I didn't know if my family would be okay without me around. All of these things, as I've learned, are pretty common feelings amongst most people who decide to take a risk and study abroad, whether or not they're only a 2-hour plane ride away from home, or more than 5,000 kilometers across the world. Regardless, the feelings are mostly the same. Every now and again, these fears would make themselves present, and I know some days were definitely better than others in that regard. Yet I'd be lying if I said that this trip didn't change my life, because I'm confident that it did, as cliche as it may sound. I've always wanted to travel the world, but there was always a small part of me, or rather a big part of me, that thought it was impossible. So you can imagine my shock when I saw Stonehenge for the first time, or when I visited London and saw Big Ben, the London Eye, and especially Abbey Road, all places which I had only dreamed of visiting. Or the trip I took to Italy, where I saw the ruins of Pompeii, Mount Vesuvius, or the beautiful Amalfi Coast. I even saw the Swiss Alps from thousands of feet in the sky. These places, while maybe insignificant for others, had always been a part of a bigger world, one that I'd never really had the slightest indication of ever exploring. But here I am, 5 months into my journey, with just a few days remaining until I return home, and the feeling of gratitude and sadness that I've been feeling for a long time has really started to set in. I've met some of the most welcoming, most caring, and most all-around amazing people while on this journey. New friends came from everywhere, far and wide, whether it be Australia, from Denmark, France, Hungary, Argentina, Minnesota, even as close as places like London, Ontario, just a short drive away from home, and especially my Italian friends. And, not to be forgotten, all of the friends I met online, from all over the UK, Ireland, Croatia, and even Spain. On the days where I just wanted to sit inside and play some video games, they were always able to cheer me up, and I would always be laughing within minutes of talking to them. You guys were my saving grace during the bad days, and I hope we were able to teach each other a few things, including my many guitar lessons over our voice chats. Thank you. To all of you, if you watch this, and I'm sure I've said it by now, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've made these experiences so wonderful for me, and you've demonstrated how kindness transgresses borders, and you can find it anywhere in the world. No matter where you're from, everyone's kind of the same, in a special kind of way. But part of the journey is the end, and this looks like it is the end. I read a book called The Alchemist while I was here, and the classic quote from the author which stuck to me is that it is the journey and not the destination that makes our life more meaningful. I know it's a pretty common and cliche quote, but I think it's something that I've really found to be true. Studying abroad and exploring the world is not just about where you go, but all of the things that come along the way and all the people you meet. Sometimes, like in life, you'll get lost and not know where your destination really is. Maybe you just don't have a destination, and that's okay too. It's all a part of the experience. In the past few months, I've learned that life is short. You often get one shot to experience things, and if you don't, like my grandmother said to me, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. At the end of this, I realized that when I made the choice to come here more than a year ago, I made the right call. Many sacrifices had to be made, but I now know that I made the right choice. And I think my grandmother knew that from day one. There are always a million reasons not to do something, and often those reasons are really convincing. But if I can give one piece of advice, as lame as it may sound, your heart always knows what's best. Sometimes you might even have to make really hard decisions in order to follow it, And there may be times where you even doubt yourself in the path that you're on. But it's okay to feel this way. Remember that all the people following a similar path feel the same way, sometimes even more often than you do. At the end of it, I've had the time of my life, and I'm never going to forget the time that I've spent here in England. All of the people that I've met have been so wonderful, and all of the times that I've shared with everyone, I just don't know how I'm ever going to forget this. Everyone's been so welcoming and so kind, and thank you all so much for everything. It's been amazing.